heard the My mom and I were driving home from an eye doctor's appointment when her cellular phone rang. Thought nothing of it. Until she hung up and she told me that it was my father. She told me my father was going to be moving out and that night was going to be his last night and they were going to be getting a divorce. I cried and cried, not knowing what to think. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to react. I never imagined ever that the divorce was going to affect my life as much as it has today. According to the article, Divorce and Its Effects on Children, the National Center for Health Statistics reports that currently 48% of marriages end up in divorce. To prepare for this speech today, I have consulted 2 books. Dear Mom and Dad, What Kids of Divorce Really Want to Say to Their Parents by Gillian Rothschild. This book offers 180 things children want to say. And I think when I read this book, I could probably check off just about all 180. Also, Boys and Girls, Book About Divorce by Dr. Richard A. Gardner. I've also consulted many internet sites, and another source I have, you're looking at her. It's me. Been there, done that. Today, we will consider some of the problems children of divorce face and consider a few possible solutions to help these children cope with divorce. I will focus on 3 areas children face the most problems with during divorce. First, within the family. According to the article, Divorce and Its Effects on Children, children may experience anger at both of their parents. They could possibly feel in the middle. If both of the parents are arguing, you ever felt this way? You feel pulled one way, maybe to the other side. They also have a difficult time getting along with the parents. They'll argue more with one or the other, maybe both. They also feel as if they might be a messenger between the parents. I remember my mom would say, you know, tell your dad this. Tell your dad, I need money. I need child support. That's not something I should be doing, or even the children should have been doing. They also may withdraw from their parents, just not want to say anything, have any communication. They may also experience one parent talking bad about another. The boys tend to lose the role model. According to an article, Children After the Relationship Ends, the United Nations of the Rights of the Child indicates that over 50% of the time it's the father who leaves the home. Next, children are affected in their school area with their friends. And when I talk about these problems, I'm not saying every child experiences these problems. That's not what I'm saying. It's just typical, and I can tell you that most of these I have experienced, so I know, been there, done that, like I said before. In school, they might experience problems concentrating on their work. They may experience declining grades, and they may tend not to want to follow directions, kind of get stubborn. You ever felt that way? I know I can be that way. They also might, depending on the age, younger children may want to sit alone and they don't want to play with their other friends. The older you get, you just kind of withdraw. Like they withdraw from their parents, you might withdraw from your friends. They could possibly fight with their peers. Also, their self-esteem and their self-image is affected. And the sources for this come from just about all of them, including myself. The children could feel that the divorce is their fault. They could blame themselves, which makes them feel bad and feel guilty. They may become depressed. They will cry more often. They will feel stress, anxiety. They will feel alone. They might feel more mature than others. I know I felt that when this happened to me in middle school. It probably one of the worst times this probably happened. I was 12, going into the teenage years. They feel anger. And they could possibly demand more attention from the parents. One of my sources told me that they might try to take advantage of the parents. Now that we've considered 3 areas where the children face the most problems, let us look at some possible solutions. We can help the children to solve these problems in at least 3 ways. More parental involvement. More involvement in group organizations, clubs at school. And more involvement in maybe possibly professional help. The parental involvement is definitely a very important part. According to the book, Dear Mom and Dad, What Kids of Divorce Really Want to Say to Their Parents, children need to spend quality time with the child. Both parents If they're going from one house to another, you need to take that time, spend the time with your children. Give them lots of hugs and kisses, very important. Makes the child feel great. Encourage the child to speak and to confide in other adults. Make sure they stay close with other family members, not just those two parents, maybe aunts, uncles, even older cousins maybe. Encourage involvement with the other parent. That's very important. Don't try to pull them away from the other parent. As I had said before, don't pull them one side to another. Listen and accept the child's feelings. If they're feeling anger, accept it. Don't tell them that it's wrong, it's stupid. That's not good. It's not, I guess, I don't want to say mentally good, but it's just not the right thing to tell them. Last, give them unconditional love. It's very important. According to another article, Children and Divorce, the different age stages, divorce professionals indicate keep as much communication. Talk as much as possible. Share as many experiences with them. Take them out, play games, anything. Just keep them going. Keep an eye out for the children's actions in schools and have household rules. If they do go from one house to the other, have the same rules, maintain them, don't change them. Next, group organizations, and I found that these were very important. When I was in middle school and high school, I got involved in different kinds of groups, maybe church, youth group, any kinds of clubs at school, support groups. I know at my middle school we developed just a little support group because I had some other friends that were going through this, and it was really hard for them. So we developed a little group. We would talk about it, kind of maybe, just things we worried about. Also, any kind of sports activities. I know I loved soccer. That's what I did. That was my sport. Last, counseling. And I know some people think, I don't want to go to a psychologist. I don't, and a lot of people refer to them as shrinks. They're not bad. I was very rejective to it at first, but I went, and I have to say, it does help. Also, there's a school counselor. You don't have to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Go talk to a school counselor. I know I was pretty close to my school counselor, and I always talked to her. I felt great talking to her. You can also do therapy, which according to Healing the Broken Heart, social worker Gail Singer indicates you can do individual therapy, which would, I guess, be one-on-one talk, like with the psychologist or the psychiatrist. You can do group therapy, which would be more like our little group we made in middle school, that group was just me and a few other girls that we had. But you can do a group with leaders maybe. You can do role playing. Act out how you're feeling. It might help you to express the anger that you have. And family therapy. If you feel that you want to express your anger to the family, but you might need a mediator, that's what group therapy is. Today I have spoken to you about the effects of divorce on children, problem areas children face, and possible ways to help the children cope and solve these problems. Think about this. According to an article, Just the Facts Mom, the Step Family Association of America indicates that 1 out of every 3 Americans is now a step-parent, step-child, or step-sibling. As a child of divorce, I can say, been there, done that, to just about everything I've taught you today, have spoken to you about today. I challenge all of you here today, if you know someone who has experienced or is experiencing any of these problems, please reach out and help them to cope with the divorce. If you don't know a lot about it, you can give them ideas. Tell them to go to the group therapy or get involved. That's a great thing to do. Talk to as many people as you can. It'll make you feel better. If that someone is you and you are in this situation, please don't do what I did and try to keep your feelings bottled up. That was my first reaction. I promise you, it will catch up to you. Is less than children who do not smoke. According to a Surgeon General's report for kids about smoking, the children who smoke are more likely to have lower grades. They have lower self-esteem and self-image. Their attention level is affected, and maybe you know what I'm talking about. Do you remember sitting in high school and one of your friends who smoked was sitting there, I can't wait to get out here. I gotta have a cigarette. I'm fiending for a cigarette. I've gotta have one. I know I had friends like that, and it drove me crazy. They didn't pay attention to what the teacher was talking about. They could have cared less. All they wanted was that cigarette after class. Also, the energy level, if you were in high school, you were in PE class, they say run one lap around the track. I know some of my friends get around there, they're about to fall over. When some of us who don't smoke, they were fine. Now that we've considered some of the 3 areas of the problem, let us look at some of the possible solutions. We can solve this problem in at least 4 ways. Promoting better education of smoking and the dangers. Parental involvement. Promoting responsible advertising and joining anti-smoking groups. To begin, we need to educate our parents so that the parents can educate the teenagers. And according to the survey Heather took last week in class, most of you want to be involved with children, already are, and plan to be parents. So we need to educate everyone to learn what these diseases are. That what I've talked about before, the health problems, it's expensive, and their performance in school is going to decrease. I know when I was young, I wanted to do really well in school, and I want my children to do well when they get older. Also, we can teach them how to just say no, the peer pressure. Just try to say no as much as you can. According to the Focus on Nicotine and Caffeine, the Surgeon General's report talks about a few ways you can say no. It makes people sick. I'm too busy. I hate the way it smells. It's against the law. I'd like to be able to breathe. And let's do something else instead. Let me show you some things you can do instead. We can draw. You can ride a bike. You can go dancing. You can swim. You can jog. You can play football, whatever sport you choose. You can talk on the phone, which I love to do, or you can sing. Also, we need to take parental involvement. According to an article in News and Observer, the Wake County Medical Society indicates parents need to be involved. Share activities with your children. Tell them that you're there for them. Encourage them to talk to you. Show concern and interest. And tell them that you care about them as an individual. This is very important. Parental involvement is one of the most important things. Next, advertising. We've heard about advertising already today, about the magazines. It's crazy. You remember Joe Camel? Well, we got rid of that, right? We also need to avoid the glamour, that smoking is fun, that it's a mature thing. I don't think so. $1 billion is spent every year on advertising. I can think of other ways to spend $1 billion. Promote what is good about not smoking. Like the drug commercials you see, tell them that it causes diseases. You can die from lung cancer, just like my grandfather did. You can also tell them, if I was on the advertising commercial, a really good friend of my family, he has emphysema so bad right now, he's confined to a wheelchair, has to have oxygen masks on his face at all times, cannot walk. He's only 62. Think about that. I didn't know this until last week. My father indicated this to me. Lastly, join anti-smoking groups. According to all of my resources, different places, one place is PATH, Protecting Adolescents Together from Harm, Project Assist, Americans Stop Smoking Intervention, the Health Education Authority Campaign, American Cancer Society, American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, and also volunteer with the Great American Smokeout. Help someone to quit smoking. Today, I have spoken to you about teenage smoking, problems associated with smoking, and possible ways we can solve the problem. Think about this. Studies have shown that if young people do not start smoking by the age of 20, most likely they won't start smoking as an adult. So, do you think you want your children to smoke? I know for sure I don't, because I saw what happens when lung cancer affects you, and it's not pretty. I challenge everyone here today to get involved in our society, help educate our young people about the dangers of smoking, and most of all, help our young people to just say no. And I have a little thing for y'all to pick up after class. It's just a cute thing I found in a book that you can give to someone after they've quit smoking. Just little things. I'll let you read it. I don't want to tell you what's on it, so you can read it when you pick it up after class.